back. What's up? What's up? Let's get everybody on here. Another amazing day, beautiful day. I just came back from just an unbelievable run and just I feel great just being out in nature. Get everybody up on here. We have another powerful group of leaders, 2 co-founders that are joining us today. So I'm really excited. It'll be on our Leaders Create Leaders podcast. Yo, Mike, what's good? I see you. Chase, my boy, that's what's good. I love it. Kaitlyn, yes. One of my favorite artists in the world is in here. Sfoltz, Devin, Jean, what's good? You already know, guys. I feel healthy. I feel so blessed. God has renewed my contract another day. So I just feel so grateful, full gratitude. Yeah, my man Raul up in here. Yes, of The Edge. Man, we got some powerful people in here. Everybody, I'm curious where everybody's coming in from. So do me a favor. As always, I can't believe how much of a global community. It's so cool to see. I'm so grateful for social media for this. Comment where you're from. Yesterday, we had people from all over the world tuning in to Dr. Donnie Epstein, who was literally like a wizard on here. Really cool. That'll be repurposed into the podcast. Today, we have 2 really special leaders that mean the world to me. They are some of the most unbelievable human beings. I'll talk to you about them in a second, but let me see where everybody's coming in from. We got France in here. We got Miami in here. Jersey. Big ups to Jersey. We got, we got London in here. India in here. New York in here. What's good, Mike? I see you. Montreal, Canada. My man Kaitlyn. Yes. Turkey. Yes. Tampa, Brooklyn, New York for Biggie. What's up? We got more New York in here. I'm loving it. So guys, I have 2 powerful conscious leaders, Melissa and Mooch. They have been the most unbelievable 2 powerful boss babes that I've ever worked with in my entire life. They've been working with us at Leaders Create Leaders, and they have really been healing and transforming women's lives around the world. They're going to tell a little bit about their story, how they started their first company to transform, people's lives through mind, body, and belly. But they both went through deep grief. And a part of their journey, they overcame that grief and they came together, they met, they formed this unbelievable company, Move, with Mel and Mooch. And they've been transforming lives for some time now, well over a year. They started at 5K. They scaled to $500,000. Now they're on their journey to $1 million. It's gonna happen. I already know. And they also now launched another iteration of their company called 90 Day CEO. So not only helping these women transform their mind, body, and belly, but also transform their bank account. So I'm really excited. We're gonna get them on here. I'm so grateful to have them as leaders in our tribe at Leaders Create Leaders. Let's see if they're on just yet. Not yet. Cool. So guys, make sure to pull some questions together. They are executing at a really high level with their leadership brand and they're scaling. Like I said, they started at 5K. Now they're doing well over $50,000 a month consistently working with us and about to go to 100K a month consistently. So I'm really excited about that. So let's good, everybody. Peace. Everybody, I want you to drop what's one thing that you're grateful for right now in your life. One thing, something that you're grateful for today. Think about that. For me, I gotta say it was nature. Like getting out in nature today. I was gonna do the treadmill at home. I got outside. I started running up the hill, running around the block. And I just got all these smells of the different flowers and just the soil and just some parts where the concrete was wet, and it just reminded me of just how lucky we are to have this planet, Mother Earth. We're just so lucky. Family, I see a lot of family. See some nature, being alive. I love it, Kareem. I love it. Health, I love it. What's good, Victor? Welcome, Jackie. What's good? All right, so let me see if the queens have arrived just yet. I'll get ready to pin their comment. I source energy, health. I love, yes, faith. I love it. Health, more health. Man, right now everyone's thinking about health, right? I mean, health is wealth. Without that, we don't got anything. Founder, I'm pinning a comment right now, guys, so give me a second. Gee, I need that hoodie. Yeah, only my clients get these hoodies for right now. 90-day CEO. Let me put this here. Let's see. Italy's in the house. I'm loving it. Yo, that's good. I love it. All right. Let me pin this comment here and then get them ready to come on. If you're just joining, if you're just tuning in, let us know where you're tuning in from. We got Italy up in the house. I follow Ashley. Thank you. I love that. So, guys, put together some of your questions. I want to know, how's your week going? Let me know how your week is going. Describe your week in one word. It's Wednesday, midweek. You know, this is, I like to think of it as like every week is a new mountain. In the beginning of the week, you see the beginning of that mountain, you got to be excited. New week, new goals, go attack it. Right now, you're in midweek. You're in the middle of the mountain. You may not see the top, you may not see the bottom, but you gotta push through. Right now, it's about that execution, that focus, that leadership. Every single day, you gotta push through. Today, it's that midweek, so it's really important to gain that momentum. 90 days here, cool. We got Melissa and Mooch that are in the tribe. So let's bring them on here. Guys, send me a request. I don't see you guys on the request yet. So Melissa, Mooch, send me a request and then let's get this popping. Energized. Hump week. Celebration. You guys are describing your weeks. I love it. So guys, I'm going to bring them on and you know what we do. I want you to welcome them with flowers. Drop flower emojis and welcome my favorite human beings. I am so grateful for them to be with us at Leaders Create Leaders. They're scaling 90-day CEO move with Mel and Mooch. Please welcome Melissa and Mooch, guys. Drop those emojis. Let's show them some love. Let's show them some love. I love this, man. Servant leaders. Yeah, there they are. What's good?
What's up?
Look
What's
at all
good?
the flowers.
Look at
I
those
love
flowers.
it. Ooh, love it.
What's
All
up?
those flowers. I love it, guys. Thank you for sending them. What's your favorite flower?
Ooh, Gerber daisy.
Sunflower.
Ooh, sunflower. Guys, drop some sunflowers. What about you, Melissa?
Gerber daisies.
What is that?
It's like it's like I'll send you a picture. It's like they're circular. They're really bright and they're like delicate, strong.
Ooh, I think I need to start asking everybody what their favorite flowers are instead of candy when they come into LCL. I like this. I'm gonna have to look that up after this for sure. So I always kick off. First of all, I have so much gratitude for the both of you. I love you so much. I'm so proud of everything that you have accomplished and the impact that you're making in so many people's lives. Your work ethic is unmatched. Your passion is infectious. Your bravery, your courage, your selflessness, the way that you're just absolutely selfless with those that you come in contact with within our tribe. You're always giving, and you're also coachable. Like you're always willing to get out of your own way, drop the ego, and willing to invest into yourselves and on your path. And I'm grateful that you've been able to just really be a part of what we're building as well. And I'm just so grateful to continue to work beside you. And I just want to honor you in that light. So thank you for joining us, Melissa and Mooch.
Thank you. That was like the nicest introduction.
I know.
We're gonna have to get the playback on that one, Gerard.
Yes. We'll drop it on the podcast. So guys, prepare some of your questions. This is going to be a really powerful conversation. All right. We're going to go into a little bit of storytelling and we're going to also get practical. Right. But before we get into the practical stuff, because I've been talking about you for a while now, like you're probably like my best, oldest clients. You're with me even before we started the new Leaders Create Leaders Mastermind. You've completely scaled. You're on track to now become a multi-million-dollar business. I know a lot of people want to know about that journey. But before we get into all the business stuff, let's talk a little bit about the beginning. How did you both come together as co-founders? And I know you have a very powerful story about how you've overcame certain traumatic experiences in your own life and dealt with grief in your own life. So maybe just give a little bit of a backstory of what has happened with both of your journeys, on your leaders' journeys that brought you together to where you are today.
Yeah, thank you so much. And like you said, we are definitely going to deliver some tangible action steps, but we appreciate being able to share our why because it's a huge part of what we do.
Yeah.
And just to open your idea up to possibility for anyone who's watching, like anyone who's watching who's, trying to build a business or who feels like there's something more. Like if you feel like there's something more calling to you, like I want to know, drop some emoji that's just screaming out to you down
More
there.
flowers,
Yeah.
more flowers.
But that's how I felt. I felt like something more was calling out to me when I met Mooch, and she was feeling the same way. And we only met just over 2 years ago, and like strangers. And at that time, though, we had really powerful paths that I think we intersected at the right time. So in 2014, I lost my daughter, Layden, to a disease called necrotizing enterocolitis, which essentially is a sick gut. So it's called shortened to NEC. It's actually Neck Awareness Month, so I get to kind of share her story a little bit more.
Hey guys, drop a heart emoji for Layden, her daughter. Drop a heart emoji for Layden.
Thank you. Yeah, Layden is my light. She's my why. And after losing her, my life just kind of had a different meaning, and I needed a higher purpose. There was a higher calling. Like you guys are all sharing, like there was something more. So I was in that space of trying to find something more, and Mooch, you were too, right?
Yeah, it's crazy that kind of grief could bring. It's like a really shitty, excuse my French, really shitty situation that could actually bring a lot of opportunity and possibility. So for me, I started studying fitness and anatomy. I wasn't that smart to be a scientist, so I went kind of the outer route to study the body after my dad was diagnosed with ALS, or Lou Gehrig's disease, which is essentially, it robs your body, right, of any movement. It essentially paralyzes you while your mind stays really intact. And so for me, he was diagnosed when I was 9. So it was like every book report, every school project, every fundraiser I could do, was all to bring awareness and to raise our ALS. And so I met Melissa. I was kind of on this path too of, really wanting something more in the sense of how can I honor this why? How can I be bigger and broader? And how can I create even more impact?
Yeah. So Gerard, we combined our niches. We said and we basically combined our purposes, which was to honor the ones we loved and to empower people. So Mooch was like an expert in, the physical body and nutrition, and I studied gut health and holistic health.
Right.
So huge. And I'm a life coach. And so we kind of put it all together, and that was the birth. That was the birth of Move.
Wow. So let's talk about health for a second, because obviously we got everything that's going on right now. I feel like relates back. I asked before you jumped on, I asked everybody, what's one thing, what are you grateful for currently right now? And the most that we got, right, was health. A lot of people talking about that. And I think what's really interesting to me is that you take this approach of mind, body, and belly, like the gut health. And I just want to talk a little bit about, what have you, just educate us a little bit, because I think a lot of us don't really think about that. I know I haven't, but I also know how important it is, because I know that our gut has a bigger level of intelligence than even our brain. It's so important, but yet we don't really pay attention to that. So, talk to us a little bit about why is that important, and how do we actually pay attention to our gut health?
Yeah. Can definitely give you some symptoms of no one walks around saying I need to tend to my gut health, right?
Right.
And so we'll share that. And just before we do, I just need to say thank you so much for all the hearts and the love. Honestly, as Mooch is sitting here, in honor of her dad, and I'm sitting here in honor of my daughter, nothing means more than shining her light. So thank you guys for being here and just showing up and letting us share this. And obviously I learned about gut health from Layden, and I didn't know what it was. No idea. But when your gut isn't functioning properly, this is the easiest way I can explain it. When your gut isn't functioning properly, you're not processing the energy. So when you eat, it's to create energy, right? Fuel, nutrition. And if your gut isn't working, you're not converting energy well. So what happens if you're not converting energy well? Well, you get brain fog, you get tired. If you're not eliminating toxins, you get acne, you get bloat, you have trouble gaining weight. And actually your immune system is significantly compromised when your gut is weak. So your gut is strongly linked, like directly connected to your immune system. So I think right now, Gerard, holding space for this conversation of how do we best prepare ourselves for this threat in the world, it's like gut health is huge.
And it's one of those things too, I think, that is becoming more and more prevalent. Like we joke all the time that, you know, you walk down the CVS aisle and there's a gut health section that's like all these processed foods, right?
Wow.
Nutrition and gut health are two very different things. It's like the what and the why. And so that's, you know, how we coach and teach our movers, as we call them, really implement steps to not only heal their gut, but treat it and then build on it, right? And get stronger.
Right. So what are like some simple steps that I can take, and you know, people that are listening can take to start improving our gut health? And
we're gonna get to that gut. Like, I know. First of all, I'm so glad Mooch brought up the CVS aisle, because you guys need to know that whether it's, you know, any company, that their job isn't necessarily to educate you, their job is to sell to you. And so when you see these aisles that say health, please, like, don't trust it. Don't just buy into that, because taking a probiotic or having a certain thing actually isn't necessarily good for your gut health. And we always hear like, oh, I take a prebiotic or a probiotic or kombucha. And that stuff is not good for your gut. So I would say don't just do things because you think it's what you're supposed to do, right? Like, number one. Number two, this is going to be bananas for some people, but celery juice. So
that's right.
Every morning, celery juice, it can change everything.
You guys are ready to try some celery juice? Comment a celery emoji. Try to find that one.
Let's get on the celery train.
Is there a celery emoji? We gotta see.
I think there is.
Or a train.
Or like a broccoli.
Celery train. Yeah.
Okay, broccoli will count.
Yeah, so celery juice actually disinfects your gut. And so it really helps your immune system. It clears out bacteria. And, you know, for me personally, I weighed 20 pounds more. I had acne. I haven't taken a pill in 3 years. And one of the biggest change agents for that was celery juice. Yeah, we got some celery drinkers.
We got some greens.
We got some greens coming in. I like it.
Yeah. For me, it was definitely acne, but I was also getting bronchitis like 2 times a month. No, 2 times a quarter probably. Right. And so for me, it was kind of showing through my immune system, and I was getting sick. I was getting burnt out. It was running my body down.
Wow.
And I just thought, oh, I just need more sleep. Right. But it was actually my body telling me that it needed a lot more.
Yeah. One other tip that we can share for gut health, just to help you guys, is drink plenty of water. Don't drink water with your meals.
This one's going to blow.
That's literally what I usually drink with my meals.
Nope. 30-minute window before and after. And the reason for that is you have enzymes. Like, the human body is amazing, right? Like, we can build humans, we can digest our food. It's just we complicate the process. So we have enzymes in our saliva that actually breaks down our food. And when we dilute it, it makes it harder for it to do that.
Wow. Okay, I didn't know that. So just basically don't drink. Just like eat your food, have a little water before, have water after, drink your celery juice in the morning, and like that's a step in the right direction.
It's a huge step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Huge step. Okay, I love it. All right, so talk to me a little bit about how this turned into a business, and then it led to 90 Day CEO, which like now you're even teaching people how to do the same, which you know is something that I love and I'm passionate about. But like I want people to know. Because, like, there's someone that's listening to this right now that's at the infancy of their career, like going into entrepreneurship. Or maybe they've been an entrepreneur for a little while, but they really haven't, like, figured it out yet, right? They're just busy. They're trying all the things. So it's like, take us back to the moment where you were like, okay, are we doing this? Like, we're so passionate about this. This is tied to, like, our why and our purpose, you know, to shine the light of Layden, to shine that light of your father. Now you got to actually build a business, right? There's so many different aspects of that. So take us back to like, where were you when you were first starting that business, and how did you kind of start to build the mindset, build out the business plan, so to speak, and know what to do and how to do it?
Yeah. I think that's such a good point. And I'm sure so many people on here, like, you know, you mentioned being called to a why.
Yeah.
Like, you know, just especially if you're like at that infancy stage where you're just starting and you're like, what do I do now? I've got a client here or there. Like, give us a little thumbs up or just something so we have an idea of like who we're chatting with and what would
that's
be
cool. Maybe what we can do is like, if you're maybe like different stages, right? Like,
yeah.
like let's just say, guys, that you're between level 1 and level 3. 3 being like you're at you're like scaling. You're like going into the millions or you're millions and above. If you're 1, you're just starting out, and 2 is like you've already started, but you're trying to figure out how to like get to that next level. 1, 2, or 3. Give us an emoji of 1, a 2, and a 3. Just like beginner, intermediate, or like you're like a freaking crushing it as an entrepreneur.
Oh, we
Cool.
got a 1.
We got a 1. We got a couple 1s. I like that. 1s. Okay, cool.
Cool.
Thank you guys for your honesty, your vulnerability. 2. We got a 2. Got some 2s. Okay, cool. So we got some 1s and 2s.
I love it.
1.5. 1.5. All right.
Hey.
2. Okay, cool.
All right, cool. So what I would say is when you are first starting, like typically you're an expert in the skill that you're teaching and coaching, but that doesn't mean you're an expert in building a business, right? And that's a huge factor. We see a lot of people like, they're like, I got the certification, but now what, right? Or I went and I did that, but now what? And so we were in this place where we knew we had the potential. We had great client results. I mean, we had women whose lives were completely changed in 12 weeks. And we were like, all right, we got to figure out how to harness and hone in these business skills. And I'd say for me, like that moment of like, are we really doing this was actually when we first invested. Met you and Brian for the first time. And we both like, we looked at each other and we were like, remember, we hadn't even known each other that long.
Wow.
Like,
yeah, it's true. You probably just,
9 months. We had only met 9 months before then and really only known each other for about 6 months. And so it was like, you know, my personal credit card, your personal credit card. And we're like, and that was like the
yeah. But guys, I just want to honor them for a second because think about the first thing they just said they did, right? They committed. They were like, we're doing this. They looked at each other like, we're committed to this. The second thing they did was they invested in themselves. You know, like that takes a lot of courage, and I honor you for that because that must have been like you probably had some objections going on in your own head of, you know, like, is this the right thing to do?
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is like we did it the first time, then we were like, we want to do it again.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We almost went through 2 phases of growth and building because it was like when we first started Move, right? That was like our learning, our growth. And then we got it to a point where, okay, now we've really automated and we've systemized Move to the, like, I don't know, maybe you'd like go and do other things, but we were like, let's do another business. Let's start something.
Yeah.
you learned the machine. You like got the system down. I love it.
Started back at that like 1 phase, right? Because we'd already built the Move to be a 3, and then it was like, now we have time to do another 1.
Right.
So,
and we always, once you build something out to that 2 or that 3 and it's running and you have it in place, like you don't have to build another business. Right. You could go travel, you could do other things, but like this is what we love, you know?
Yeah.
So, all right,
what's the big difference? Give someone a little bit of some advice of like, if they're a 1 and they want to get to a 2, what would you say to them? And then we'll go into like, if you're a 2, so like if you're like 0 to 6 figures, you're trying to get to your first 10K a month in revenue. Yeah. What would you say to that person? What would be some steps that you think that they need to take to dial things in so that they can get to consistently getting into that 10, 20K a month? And then we'll go into the next tier up, which is where you've been able to like pretty much get consistently well over $50,000 a month. So 2 different tiers. What would be your first level of advice for someone that's at that first tier?
So I would say at that first tier, you know, you really have to understand, you know, beyond just marketing and sales. And I think everyone just thinks like, okay, if I market this out and sell it, I'm running a business. Yeah. But that's part of it, right? And so understanding all aspects of a business and having systems in place. So I think you need to become a student in how to run a business if you actually want to have your skill be more than just getting paid hourly for doing something.
Coach.
Yeah. I think that's mistakes I see. Yeah.
Well, and because like when you look at being an entrepreneur, it's like you don't look for like the dream job, you're looking for the dream life. And so I think a lot of times where people get caught up is like, okay, if I'm marketing well and I'm selling well, then I'm running a business. But all you've, like Melissa said, is you're being able to pay yourself hourly. You've just created a job. And so what I think the biggest thing is turning that sales and marketing into a full-blown business of, you know, the 5 aspects is what, you know, we would run a business on.
Yeah.
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 And
We talk about, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, I mean, just in all honesty, I think for either group, and maybe this is a transition in, but I want to go back to whatever you're gonna say, G, is I think you have to be around a community or coaches who pull you up.
Yep.
No matter what level you're at, if you want to grow, because you can't grow, like, we're human.
Yeah.
So when you're running a business, it's really hard to separate out emotion. It's really hard to not do the easy thing first. It's really hard to not like put the things off that we don't want to do because we don't know how to do it, or it's overwhelming, or it feels like heavy. So we push that back and we say we're too busy. And I think you've almost got to like call yourself out enough to be like, okay, I am a human. I'm really good at running, teaching this skill or doing this, but I'm going to put supports in place to run a business.
Yeah. No, I love that. And there's such a big difference, right? Like we're talking about, there's a lot of individuals out there that are trading time for money. And
Yeah.
I loved what you said, Mooch, right? Like a lot of people have created a dream, maybe a job, maybe not even a dream job, and instead it's like when you're an entrepreneur, you're supposed to be leveraging entrepreneurship to build a dream life.
Yeah.
Doing what you love, making sure it energizes you, it gives you fulfillment, but it also gives you freedom. And I think a lot of people are stuck on that hamster wheel where if they're not the one trading their time for money and doing the damn thing, they're not making any money. And
Right.
I think what then Melissa kind of came in and was like, and that's why systems matter so much. And we talk about the 5 divisions of business, sales, marketing, operations, finance, and product, and really optimizing all those different divisions. And then really the next thing that I want to talk to you about is like, and then it's like leadership, right? Because like now all of a sudden it's like if you're not, you have to be in your positions. Like how have you found your roles on the team, and then how did you start to build your team? What was that like? What was that first hire like? When you started all of a sudden hiring and starting to bring people on and helping you to implement those systems so that now you can kind of take a step back from that business.
Cortland, our first
we
hire.
didn't always have matching jackets, but it
Yeah.
came pretty soon.
Yeah. It was awesome. I mean, I think, when you really look at systems and operations, like that allows you to see the business for the business, not the business as you. And being able to say like, what am I really good at? What is Mooch really good at? And being able to say like, we need to make decisions that are in the best interest of growing our business. And that's going to be identifying each of our skill sets.
Yeah.
And that first hire was fun. And
it was.
I think when we saw, it's kind of like when you first invest in yourself. It's another way of investing in yourself, right? When you hire. Like when we saw that bringing someone in and investing in that grew our business and made us happier, then it's like, ooh, let's do that again. You know?
Right. Yeah. What do you look for? Like what mattered when you were looking for that first hire? Kind of like, how did you go about it, and what did you look for?
Communication and flexibility for me.
And filling a hole of the business. I think this is a really big thing that we coach is like, don't just pick someone you love because you love them and they're great, right? It's like, you've got to look at the business and where the business needs support. And we did a lot of work in terms of like, okay, what are we really good at and how can we position ourselves to be in those areas more?
Yeah.
The other stuff, like not drain so much energy from us. And so then I was almost matching that puzzle piece of what does our business need with a person who's really good at those things and putting them together. And then for us, like a big part of it is like, it's culture, like our actual culture business, so important. And so we make sure that everyone that comes in and works with us has,
there we go.
Good? All right.
Someone that's either gone through our program or has worked with us in other capacities.
Yeah, I love that you brought that up, Mooch. Definitely knowing our culture is huge, for sure.
So important. Like, so how do you, like, when you think about your culture, was that something that was easy for you to like think about, like, okay, like now that we're starting to build a team, did you really start to reevaluate like what the values are, what the vision is here? I know you're going, even right now, you're thinking about how these two businesses kind of merge. So how are you going about right now cultivating that culture now that you're growing your team?
Yeah. I think we really identified, what our commonalities were. And I just want to honor and acknowledge somebody's question on how did we get coaching clients for our business. We'll definitely hit that. If anyone wants to drop what type of business you have, I'd love to see like what industry you're in or what field you're in or what your zone of genius is.
Yeah.
Definitely hit that, like, but we want to know your zones of genius. But we'll hit that how we got our first coaching clients. I think for us, it was like recognizing that it actually wasn't about, the gut health. All right. Like, let's be honest. Like we sat down and we were like, we didn't invent gut health.
Yeah.
We didn't fitness. We didn't invent mindset. We're teaching it the way that we know. Right. And even
Right.
we didn't invent this. Like,
no. Right.
So what is it that makes us stand out and makes us successful? And we really came down to the idea of empowerment, having like this empowering community,
Yeah.
Trust, and honestly teaching. And I'm super biased, and community, but I'm super biased to teaching because I was a teacher for 10 years. And so like being able to make teaching one of our core values allowed clients to get results, and then clients get results, and then it grows. And so I think for us, we stop looking at it as move or 90 day and more as empowerment, teaching, trust, and community.
Yeah, I love that. And just like being very, very clear in that, and just, there's such power when you build that empowering community. And I love it. I love it so much. Like, it's like, there's such power. Cause like for so many years of my career as an entrepreneur, I did things alone. I don't know if any of you watching this, listening to this right now, have felt this way, where it's like you're out there hustling and you're doing all these things and you're building your business, but like it somewhat can be lonely, right? Like, and because you don't, because I never have a lot of points in my career, I didn't have like a mastermind, or I didn't have a coaching program or a community to kind of lean on. So, just the power of that alone, that empowering community, and then on top of that, you're getting insight and being taught things that are working with people that have the results that you're looking for, right? So it's for you, you're like be able to teach people what is working for you and how you're growing your business. And it's, there's just such power in that, because it saves time, right? Instead of me having to go and figure it out on my own, or your clients that go figure it out on their own, they can like learn from you and cut that learning curve in half, right? Like you joining, working with us over the past year and learning what's taken me 5 years. Yeah. And now we're able to condense that to a year and condense that into, 90 days. So it's like just the amount of time you save in learning, and then the relationships is just so powerful. So I just think I absolutely love it. I want to get into some of the questions, because obviously we're getting some questions rolling in here. Yeah. So I guess maybe we'll start, because, I think it's interesting. You're talking about the culture and the teaching and the empowerment and the community. That kind of, I think, plays a little bit into that question that we just got. So maybe you can start there into like how did you get your first clients? Let's see. How do you get coaching clients for your business? So maybe you can start there. Prosper, what's your name? I appreciate you asking the question. And guys, start to ask your questions. I like to pull them up. So if you can comment them in the little question box, that would be really great.
Cool. So I think honestly, the first thing is you have to be really clear on who you're speaking to. Because if you're throwing stuff out there and you want to speak to, this person, but your messaging isn't resonating, you're like casting a net to a place that you don't even want to go fishing. Right. And so you need to first be really clear in who you're speaking to, and make sure your messaging aligns with that. Yeah. I would say the next thing, Sam, it's Sam. Okay. Awesome. Cool. Sam. Nice to meet you. I would say the next thing is like, just treat it like we always say, stop using the term reach outs. Like, it's like human connecting, like just connect with humans. And
we forget that behind all these numbers and metrics, it's just people.
It's just humans, and it's not about a sale, right? It's about alignment. Like, is what you're offering aligned with what they need? And can you help them see that you can get them to where they want to be? And then can you deliver it, right? And if you can do that, then like, it's beautiful.
It's like this idea of like how we always overcomplicate things, right?
Yeah.
It's like, think about it. If you're sitting on your phone, Sam, or any of these people who are commenting, like, we're just talking to you. You're another human on the other side of the screen.
Yeah.
And Melissa's point, like going into a conversation thinking like, I'm going to get this sale. Like, you're not actually getting sales. It's just, you're creating impact. You're driving networking. You're creating. You're serving. And like, I think that's such a massive disconnect in this like online world, is like, we're all just humans doing the best we can.
Yeah.
I love it. Can you extend? I know we have some other questions here, guys. Ask these questions. I'm gonna pull them up, but I just want to for a second. I have one, and since I have the mic, I'm gonna take it. But like for a second, I want to know, since we're on the sales, what advice you would give to someone who like does have that mindset issue. Like mindset is so powerful, and you're talking about like it's just a conversation. You're talking about it's like switching it to service. But like what if you just like have more of like a self-worth issue, right? Like you just don't believe in yourself. You feel like you feel that you still have that like challenge with asking someone to buy into you. What would you say to them?
I love this. I mean, I love this. So my background, mindset coaching. So I love doing this and helping entrepreneurs. And I would say, first, identify what your roadblock is, right? If it's that you're afraid of what they might say, I'm going to challenge and write this down, honestly. Like, write down this phrase to yourself. What else is true? And we tell ourselves this story of like, they're not going to want it. It's not going to be good enough. They're not going to like it. And I just want you to think of 3 other things that could be true. They love it. You changed their life. They become a lifelong client. Like, what else can be true than the one story you're telling yourself? Because the one story you're telling yourself is deep-rooted in something else, and you don't want to let that block your progress for your business or your ability to serve, right? Yeah. And so that, I think, is a super powerful strategy our entrepreneurs have found really effective.
Yeah, another one that comes to mind is once you are kind of on this journey of entrepreneurship and you are working with clients, and like it's kind of like this, right? This journey is like up and down. Yeah. Whether it's sales, whether it's your marketing, whether it's business building or new business creation, whatever it is. And so what we tell clients is like create this like hype folder. Yeah. Right? Start a photo album in your phone and call it Hype Me Up or something. Yeah. And it can be shots of people that you've literally have served and you've changed their life. Yeah. Right? And think about it. If you didn't start, if you didn't decide that like this was your journey and this was your path, like those conversations might have never been had. And so that's something that you can also try.
Yeah, I love that.
And excited about it.
I love that because like we don't celebrate enough, and like part of like you saw that we've been implementing in Leaders Create Leaders, like share wins, because it's like when we start to celebrate our small wins and just it creates momentum, it creates this winning culture, this winning like attitude, and that's that's like kind of contagious for everyone around you, but also for yourself. Having a hype folder hypes you up. Remember who you are. Remember how far you've come. And then I also love what you said, Melissa, too, in the sense of like, what else is true? What else can be true, right? Because we have the ego that comes up and starts saying you're not good enough, or what is this person going to think? And, all these things that come up that have the FOPO, the fear of other people's opinions. And it's like, what else? What if they actually, you're the person, you're the messenger that's supposed to give them that message that's going to change their life? What, like she said, what if they become your client for years? Right. Mm-hmm. So it's like super, super powerful. All right, let's get some other questions here. How long have you girls been working for yourself? So it's been, I guess, close to 2 years, right?
Yeah. So we started our business honestly, it was really September of 2019. That it went from like this 1 month kind of trial to like, oh, we're really going to do this. So, yeah. And it's been a grind. And I just think that for everyone listening to hear that, like, we were never fearless. And I think so many people think like, oh, I'm going to wait till I'm not scared. And just don't wait for that, because we were scared. Like, we were scared. And for me, it was a huge block. Like I shared my why. I was really afraid that people were going to think I was literally making a business out of my tragedy. And that almost paralyzed me. And to Mooch's point with the hype folder, like last week when I had a client say like, you've changed my life, thank you. I was like, imagine if I let fear stop me. Yeah. I wouldn't have changed this person's life. So we've been doing this since about September of 2019. Yep. Just getting started.
I love it. Another question from Hacks says, how do you maintain and build trust?
You got to keep showing up. And I'm curious, like, if you have trust with your clients or trust with your team, I think the way that you show up it's got to be similar. And just showing up authentically of who you are, right? Yeah. I think that's kind of the biggest thing that we've really been able to offer is like, we just show up regardless, really raw, really real.
Yeah.
And we're able to, you know, communicate that, share that, collaborate on that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. I also just want to add to that, with your clients, like building trust, I think is
right.
scaling.
I mean, leadership is trust. Like that's like the number one thing that you need to build as a leader is trust.
Yeah. Yeah. And so like delivering, right? Like delivering on what we tell our clients and showing up and doing it for them and getting gritty and down in the trenches and looking at aspects of their business that like, you know, like we were like, oh shit, we better go check that in our own business. Like we haven't even looked at that for ourselves, but like just doing what it takes. And people just want to know that you're there and that you're a safe place, and consistency and delivery and results offer that.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So we got a question here from Sadi Silva. What experience or belief greatly improved your confidence in what you do?
Ooh.
Good question. Great question.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Is there a specific like moment or experience that happened where like you had a breakthrough? You were like, you broke through and you took your confidence to a whole new level? Or was there like a certain belief that you had to change specifically in order for you to step into this new level of confidence?
So ridiculously uncommon.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was us being able to master it for ourselves and then for our clients. But we had someone kind of go through our stuff once and looked through
like a deep dive,
like a 9-hour deep dive, and like they you know, looking at like having two businesses running simultaneously, and because we were really doubting that, and it was like getting this idea of like ridiculously uncommon, and we were like, okay, we got this. And that's like a phrase I'll never forget. Like,
never ever, like goosebumps central. It was like, you know, we were thinking like, do we need to stop one to grow the other, to change what we're doing to grow something else?
Yeah.
Right.
Those two words.
I remember that.
Yeah. So I think but I think more than anything, like ridiculously uncommon doesn't mean it's inaccessible or not possible. It's just like going after it and doing it and not letting ourselves get in the way.
I love it. Sweet. And I would also just add to that, you know, it really is kind of plays the last thing too, just like it's the consistency of making yourself uncomfortable. Like any great leader is consistently practicing being uncomfortable, stepping into the uncertainty. And the more that you do that and practice every day, and it's as simple as like, for me, you know, obviously I do these lives every day for you guys, right? And there's days where maybe I don't want to show up, or there's days where like I'm not feeling myself, or, you know, there's days that maybe I'm a little insecure, but I show up consistently for you guys, you know. And there's days where like I'm going to share a story or share something, and it's like scary for me to open up about a part of my life that like I've never really shared. And the more that I do that, the more that I'm consistent with showing up and like telling my story and opening up about those vulnerable moments, like my confidence goes up a little bit more, because I realize that those parts of me, you know, are not who I am. Those are experiences in my life, but they don't actually define who I am, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, just I think for me, storytelling as a modality has really improved my confidence. Going out there and just speaking my truth, telling it how it is, what I'm going through, the good, the bad, the ugly. And the more that I do that, the more I feel confident.
Well, and you us with that so much, Gerard, like in terms of like understanding our story, because I think for us, we didn't even realize how powerful our story was because it was just ours.
It was ours, yeah.
Right? Like it was like all we knew was our own story. And so I think that's a gift of yours, not only doing, but in teaching and coaching, because you helped us own our story so we could really even then share that and deliver that, because we didn't even really see it, right? It was just like, it was just our story. And you were like, no, you've got to share this. This can change the world. This can change lives. And, you know, I'm sure there are a lot of other people on here with stories. We're not the only ones with losses.
Everyone has that story, right? Like it's own your leader's story. Like every one of us has had a moment, and this kind of plays into the next question, but it's like, has had a struggle. It's had struggle in their life. It may be completely, yours may be completely unique to you. No one will understand the struggle that you went through with Layden, right? Or that Mooch went through with her father, but people can relate to loss, right? They can relate to that pain. and seeing you come out about that struggle, that courage that you've had to take that moment and to carry Layden as a light and to be that light for Layden and for your father, and to go and shine that light on others and help others to heal and to transform their lives, and is so courageous that, like, wow, like, it's just, to me, I just feel like through your story, then think about what you've been able to create in your life and the impact that you've had.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
powerful.
Well, thank you for helping us tell our story, because, you know, it's why we do what we do.
I love it. I love it. I love it so much. In everything we do, there are achievements and there's also the downfalls. What would you say was the downfall so far? I'm assuming it's on the journey. I never know how to get the rest of the question. But I'm assuming so. But obviously, it's about, like, so what would you say was a downfall since starting your business? Was there a moment of true adversity for you that felt like, I could probably think of one, but I want to see what you say.
I want to hear what you have to say, but
I know, I'm curious.
Honestly, like, this is my true belief. I think, like, there's really no downfalls.
Yeah,
like,
I know downfall's a tough, like, downfall, but
yeah, I mean, we've had challenges. This isn't free. Actually, I mean, and Gerard, I know you love him, but Kobe Bryant, one of my very, very favorite interviews he did, they interviewed about how he had the ball to take a game-winning shot in his professional, like, first series of his professional run, and he missed 4 times in a row. And, you know, in the interview, they were like, well, wouldn't you be afraid to take another shot again? Or why did you take the third? And why did you take the fourth? Right. He was like, I don't believe in failure. There's no such thing as failure. It's just feedback. And I got feedback that my body was tired. I wasn't used to this level of games. I wasn't used to this schedule. I had to do this, 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 and that. So I learned and I got better. Right. And so I don't know, that just has always stuck with me from when I saw him in that interview. And I think that's kind of like the approach we take.
Yeah, 100%. And it's just like, if we hadn't taken that approach, we probably wouldn't be sitting here with what we've been able to achieve. Like, it's like every single challenge, every single single thing has kept pushing us forward.
Yeah.
And allowed us to grow and to change direction and go further in one direction and switch again. And it's really just been kind of the catapult to our growth.
I mean, hiring and training staff is always an investment of time. That can be a challenge.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, all those new levels, new devils, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I see Lauren's in here. Lauren Tickner, I love you. You always come in and support. So thank you so much. I'd be really interested, because I know you have a really unbelievable business that's scaling. What's a question that you have that relates to being a coach, being a leader in your industry, being someone who's scaling in your business as an entrepreneur, as a boss babe? I'd love to know what question maybe you have. And then I have a really good one here that I think is something that that I think is like, ooh, like, kind of hits that a lot of people, and I know this is on recent one-on-one that we had, Melissa, we talked about this, about, letting go of any kind of guilt or shame in your story. So thank you to She's So Rad. What would you say to someone who has shame in telling their story?
Oh, like, she's so rad. Like, thank you. Thank you for having the courage to ask that, because I think that's a universal. Unfortunately, we carry shame as humans, right? And I think that was the heaviest weight that I personally had to begin to release, to share my story. And I didn't share the deepest, darkest, heaviest stuff to start. It's kind of when you're training for a marathon, you don't start running 26 miles right away, but you start with a mile, right? So you share something that feels a little bit scary. Like, I remember the first post I put out, like, sharing about my daughter Layden, I deleted it right away. Because I was like, oh my God, right? And then as I got more now I don't even think twice. But I didn't just get there. It was like literally 1 mile, and then 3 miles, and then 5, and then maybe you need a recovery day because you've got a little vulnerability, like, coming. Brene Brown calls it a vulnerability hangover. So I would say to, like, start sharing tiny bits in places that you can, and do the work inside to really accept yourself and start thinking again that what else could be true? How can this help somebody? Step into my power. And for me, like, I can go on this forever. This is the last thing I'll say, but what choices do I have? And I think when I really consider that, like, okay, my choice is to like carry this and hold it inside and like feels really heavy, or my choice is to like put it out there, learn, process, accept, be the leader in how this is discussed and change lives.
I love it. Be the leader. And I would also say that, like, this whole life, business, of course, and when you're able to get to a point of realizing, and you go through your spiritual stages where this happened to me, to this happened for me, to this is now happening through me, and then this is happening as me. And when you go through these stages of spirituality, that leads you to self-acceptance, that leads you to self-love again, right? Because I'm sure Melissa and Mooch had to go through that, just like all of us had to go through that from whatever trauma you go through in your life, whatever grief that you may have had. But when you go through that healing, at that point, you get to a point of not longer seeing it as shame, but seeing it as something that was a gift. And that gift becomes your purpose, just like it has for Melissa and Mooch. And then that purpose blossoms into a garden.
Yeah.
And that garden is for all these other people to come into your garden to pick fruit and to eat and to be able to, for them to then see how your pain turned into purpose and how theirs can too. And that's why the business that we're in is so powerful, because no matter what, we're in the business together. We're a team. Melissa, Mooch, me, my team, their team, our tribes. We're all in this together because we change. What do? We change people's lives. It's the best shit in the world. That's what we do. Yes, we scale businesses and we make millions of dollars, but ultimately it's about changing people's lives, about helping others. And that's the best part about it. When you go through this spiritual journey of healing yourself and realizing that this thing that you're shameful of or guilty of didn't happen to you. It happened for you. It was a gift, and it's through you, and you're a vessel to use that to be able to impact others that are going through that pain in one way or another. So I just wanted to add that.
And one thing too, Gerard, that kind of resonates with me is like, you think about planting yourself and then growing, it's like your responsibility is to water yourself, right? Like you've got to keep adding, right?
Yes. Yes.
Self-discovery or coaching programs or reading and podcasting and all of that. Like it's your responsibility to help that grow.
Yes.
And Brad, don't forget, nobody else gets the pen to write your story but you.
Woo, you're the author. I love that.
Nobody else gets but you.
This kind of leads, I think, a little bit, we were talking about our communities and our tribes. And someone asked, should I try to get into an incubator program to start my business? So what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I always say yes. I think it's something that going through, even being an entrepreneur, is like we learned, right? It's like that first time you kind of jump in, you're like, am I really going to do this? Is this really
belong even, right? Sometimes you don't even know if you belong.
Right, right, totally. And now it's just kind of like, well, what's next for us, right?
Yeah.
Like we're always looking for like that next opportunity to like take and pour it over our heads.
Yeah.
And grow. So I think really look at what your business needs. If you're just looking to start, I would say, coming back to Gerard's point of like finding a leader who can show you, maybe that 5-year journey and shrink it down to less than a year, right? Is where I would absolutely say, yeah, go for it.
Yeah. And I think look at your goals. Like, are your goals to grow? And if your goal is to grow, well, then how are you going to achieve that? Because if we keep doing the same things, we're not going to get different results, right? Yep. So what are you doing and how are you employing resources to really identify what the hole in your business is? Because as entrepreneurs, it's really hard to do that without emotion biasing.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, and also I would tell you too, like, there's so many amazing coaches and programs and that are out there. And it's just like finding what fits for you, right? Like, I can't help everyone. They can't help everyone. There's so many amazing programs and coaches out there. So it's just find the one that resonates with you, that the story resonates with you, that the leader resonates with you, and then talk to them, get in touch with them. Like, see, like if they, don't just go into just a regular program where like you can't really connect to the founder. like if you go to work with Melissa Mooch, like you're gonna work with Melissa Mooch. Like if you join my program, like you're working with me, and you're working with our team. So it's like find the program where you resonate with the leader. It fits your goals. You know, it intuitively feels right. It's the type of container that you actually feel like you need and you're called to, and make sure that the leader has the results that you're looking for. You know, because there are coaches out there that
Yep.
ultimately don't have the expertise, that just regurgitate, and they're not really dedicated to helping. So just be careful, take your time, and make sure that you find the right program that fits for you.
Yeah.
Someone's asking about your team. How big is your team? Thank you. We got Jeff the entrepreneur. This is amazing. Live as a coach. So he's a coach. How big is your team?
We have 9 team members right now. So we have few in marketing, operations, assistant coaches. So it's been amazing, and it's allowed us to really scale without compromising the integrity of our product and what we're offering for our clients. So it's been great.
Yeah, I love it. You know, guys, my last company, we had 200 employees. What's really great about where I'm at now is you can really scale a really great, sustainable, and predictable 8-figure business, sometimes even 9, with a lean and mean team. I'm talking about a dozen people. You really don't need more than that. Even like at the highest level of like the people that I know that are like real leadership brands, like for instance, Gary Vaynerchuk, right? The guy's got a whole VaynerMedia. His personal team is like 30. Yes, VaynerMedia has probably 1,000 employees, but around Gary Vaynerchuk and the machine that he's built around him is about 30 people. So that's at the high end, but you can build a really strong, like both of these boss babes, they're going into a multi-million-dollar business, and they probably don't need any more than what they already have. Maybe it'll be 10 or 12 people, but lean and mean.
Yeah, I agree. And we really are taking the approach of giving our loyal staff team more responsibility in growing their roles versus like hiring more and more, because I think it's just like that protects the, culture.
You know, Jeff, you mentioned that you are scaling, and it really is hard because it really depends on your business too, right? Like, what is it that you really need? You know, it's kind of what Mooch talked about earlier, right? Like, what are the gaps in the business and making sure that, like, if you're going to fill that gap, like being very clear as to what that gap in your business really is. And you're going to find that person that has that particular skill, and that you're going to give them the right process and system for them to crush that role. But I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs fail because they hire too fast, or they hire the wrong people that don't have the right skills, and most importantly, don't have the right character, the culture, that becomes a cancer, and that completely diminishes the business. And I've had that even happen to me, right? So it's really important to hire people at the right time. So this is why I think having a coach to lean on, like Melissa Mooch is leaned on us. They have other people that they work with. Like I have coaches in my life. Like having advisors, trusted advisors that you can lean on to help you as you're scaling, to really look at the organizational chart and look at your 5 divisions of business and really see where those bottlenecks and limits to scale are, to make the right decision on, is bringing another person the right solution, or is it a system problem? Is your system broken? You don't have the right processes in place, right? Because that's what's most important before you just bring somebody in. All right, cool. So we're coming up on the hour. I wanted to say thank you so much for being on here. I want you to give some last words of wisdom before we come off. I always love to end it with around leadership. So for someone that is looking to kind of level up as a leader in the world right now, what would be some wisdom and advice that you would give to them right now? I feel like the world needs leaders more than ever before. What is it?
I said LFG.
Let's fucking go.
I mean, I think it's so clear on your why.
Yeah.
Get so clear on your why, because when you're clear on it, when that imposter syndrome voice comes up, when that fear of failure comes up, like you can kind of use that why to knock it down, right? And employ strategy. You don't have to do this alone. And in fact, you're going to grow more when you try to not, when you stop trying to do it alone, and allow other people in their zone of genius to help you level up. But just know it's possible. Like, we're literally two girls who are in sweatpants.
I was just gonna say,
all the time. Like, we don't have anything fancy. We don't have any great color schemes.
I brushed my hair for you though.
No, you look great. You both are glowing. I commented that when you joined.
No, I mean, like, it's so simple. Like, literally, I'm in sweatpants. We built our whole business from the couch on sweatpants without paid ads. Like,
and you still don't have a big following, right? Like, wasn't like when you guys joined us, we talk about that. Like, it's so cool. It's like you didn't have to have 10,000, 100,000 following for you to grow this unbelievable business.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Like, we started, my marketing brain's going now. It's like we started our Facebook. Like, we didn't even have a website.
Yeah.
And so, like, don't wait for shit to be perfect, right? Like, you're actually doing yourself a disservice if you're waiting for it to be spot on, perfect, hair done, no sweatpants.
Yeah. So I think, I think in closing, like, keep it simple, focus on your why, focus on the transformation and service you can offer, and then allow yourself to, like, just keep that ego at the door that we know can want to get in the way and pop up and scare us and not allow us to ask for help. But when you do that and you focus on your why and service, like, it will come. You just got to, like, go through the process.
I absolutely love it. Well, thank you so much. And in front of everybody, thank you so much for being also just advocates of my movement, my why, with creating leaders in the world. And I'm so proud of what you're creating. You can call on me anytime, you know, with 90 Day CEO, with Move. I'm just so happy for you and how you've been able to take that pain into purpose and changing so many people's lives. So, and I know you're just scratching the surface. So like I said, it's the journey to millions. And I mean that not just in dollar signs, but in hearts. So thank you for your souls. I love yous, and I will see you soon.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
All right, guys. So thanks. I got to jump. I have a coaching call with my mastermind, so I got to jump. Make sure to go and let Mel and Mooch know that was powerful. I got to go. If you guys are interested in learning more about the mastermind, hit me up. Leaders Create Leaders. Send an email to vip@leaderscreateleaders.com. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast. This episode will drop so you can re-listen to it on the podcast. Subscribe, share it to your story, tag me. I'll repost. I appreciate you guys. Be the leader. Crush your day. And peace.